Okay guys, welcome back to another episode of What Blah Blah. In today's episode we will be looking at, is it episode 30 at this point? My god. So, we will, the first thing is, tensions are rising in Europe, so everybody is like, whoa, wait, stop, we don't want millions of people to die because this is like the biggest war ever. So there will be some negotiations with Bangladesh, who's still like probably number 4 in the world, as a negotiator, I guess. Um, and then they will end up negotiating for a while, and the negotiations will end with a dissolution of all alliances in Europe, so that the war is avoided since there is no teams. So all alliances in Europe have been dissolved, and they are prohibited from being formed for another 50 years. So the same alliances. Anybody until that. So that's a 50 years of chaos. So, 50 years of chaos. So, and seeing this opportunity, the purple country will launch a surprise attack on this red blob thing, and they will make impressive gains before they can fight back, and they will kind of they will turn it into a war of attrition, because they will know that these guys have, they've been preparing for this, because this is like a few years after it. So other than that, Europe goes through a surprisingly peaceful era of about 20 years of peace, which is pretty impressive for this continent. And so now we are in about the 1680s, 1690s. So yeah, but the thing that will break it is the Caucasians, as the Caucasians are now not receiving supplies anymore. There was a temporary ceasefire, but now the invasion is beginning again, as Russia will push back into their land, taking swaths of territory as there's nobody to defend them. As their chaos is this, but the world is still grateful that the massive war didn't break out and they will manage to solve it diplomatically. And I also didn't want to have a big war again this soon, because I wanted the next big war to be like World War One. So yeah, I didn't really think about it too much before, and then I was like, how do I stop this? So yeah, the Russians will continue to make gains. They will launch the encirclement attack towards the capital, and they will successfully encircle it this time. And now there is 150,000 troops encircled in the capital city. Uh-oh, these guys say. And some of them flee into Russia and try to get away, and others just die. And yeah, with them, and then the rest of the nation will fall over to Russia, with the capital falling soon. This is the peace treaty. Next into the Russian Empire at this point. Is that what it is? Kind of is, to be honest. As the Russians will now turn their attention to somebody else. Neutral. Neutral will now be invaded by their neighbour, as the Russians will launch a surprise attack on Neutral, and Neutral is taken by surprise by this because they didn't expect the neutrality to be broken by Russia. The world will be outraged by this, as Neutral is stated many times in the 200, 300 years of existing that they are neutral. Neutral. So the French and the Dutch will work together to supply Neutral. But before the supplies reach, Neutral loses its northern territories to the attacking force. But then the supplies arrive. I guess it's kind of easy to say, but people don't like nations don't like other nations' neutrality being broken by other nations, and this will permanently ruin relations between the French, the Dutch, and Russia. So these two are kind of ruining relations with these guys because of what just happened. So, and neutral will begin to push back into Russia, into their occupation zones, but Russia will hold it as a stalemate again. But back in Europe here, the Purple Nation made a slip up and they lost their occupation areas and they signed a white peace. And I'm surprised this Purple Nation is still around, honestly. So yeah, this red thing join this thing, and now people are horrendous. Alright, and now a Adriatic nation has broken away and will form their own nation, and they are now the Adriatic nation. I guess it's something that's cool. I guess they're really weird, but they will proceed to launch an attack on Greece with supplies by a certain foreign power, which will not be named yet, but it'll be revealed later. As the Greeks will be losing territory at rapid rates by this weird Adriatic thing. So nobody knows why the thing is powerful, but it is. So they will launch mass attacks and they will storm the capital city. They take Greece's capital city. Uh-oh. Let's look at the peace treaty. So like the coastline, which is weird. The thing's just weird. What the hell is this thing? This is just Chile, isn't it? This is just Chile and reincarnated in this different universe thing. But in the Americas, we're gonna have something happening, as this yellow thing will buy some more territory from the Dutch, as the Dutch gone kind of broke with everything that's happening. They've gone kind of broke, so they will be forced to sell this territory, and they are going bad, I guess. And in the northern Algerian areas, more shit is happening. Sorry for swearing. More crap is happening still. So the Purple Nation has pulled a rabbit out of the hat, and they've making a launch offensive towards this massive thing, and they will take tons of land, and then they will knock them out of the war. I guess the coalition thing. But then, as they are taking in the new land, this thing attacks them. This is like the OG, so they want it back. They will launch attacks into this thing, and they will lose territory to the OG. Both nations, and that's kind of screwed up everything. Uh-oh, says everybody. Uh-oh, says everybody. Uh-oh, says everybody. And there will be a civil war in the red country here. The reason for this is because, if you remember, they were divided for probably a century or so. And this means that they have split cultures, so this one will break away from it. And they can't really do anything about it because the cultures are so different. Like, it's so different. It's kind of like East Germany and West Germany. Very different. To this day, still very different. And in this, I forgot what it's called. In Iberia, the new yellow blob thing will invade this Catalonia nation that used to be powerful. They will quickly take this land and then they take the rest of it and annex it into their empire, or at least it's called an empire. I guess it's an empire. And in England and this area, I guess, there will be a breakaway. These kind of areas where they will kind of just be like, fight us if you want to take us back. And which is because that would be a suicide mission. But Horn of Africa update! In the green country, there will be a split in half. with this part of the nation breaking away and forming their own nation with no capitals because these don't have capitals. This red nation will launch an attack on these two nations here. They will attack these two, hoping to form a South India nation because they want control of everything. So they will decide to declare war on these guys who still have very close ties to these guys. They just left because they were kind of a jerk, but they will continue just pushing into this thing, and until they take massive amounts of territory, and then they will end up surrendering and being, if I can, and then they will be annexed into these guys. Same thing for these guys, so let's just skip the battle. Wow! They are now going to make a capital city, which is going to be in the center of the South Italy. Can I stop saying Italy? The South Indian Confederation, right? That's what it's called. I don't know what things are called anymore. And in Europe, I guess in North America, the entirety of Greenland has been discovered and colonized. For 10 minutes. 10 minutes afterwards, the Greenland breaks away, and shortly followed by Iceland. They both declare their independence from the Swedish crown, and this was kind of your new map of Europe. So, in here in Oceania, the Green Nation is going to make a big move, and they will take the rest of the continent to stop these guys from taking it, which will quickly provoke these guys into a war with the Green country. So they will be attacked by the Red Nation and the Dutch, with them losing tons of territory in the northern areas. So, teams in the south, they take over the southern area, which is kind of the most important areas for the Dutch, so that's big. So these guys are managing to surprisingly overrun the Red Nation in the south areas, but Tanzania is hard to get to because the Navy is still blocking it off. But in here, the Dutch will make a surprising maneuver, and then they will try to push down here to cut them off. But this will backfire terribly for the Dutch, as they will be cut off and this will allow them to take back the territory, with this thing being cut off and eliminated. But then they will slowly be pushed back by the Greens, and they will be pushed out by the Greens, and these guys will take over these two areas. Whoa! They will manage to completely beat the colonizers at their own freaking game, and then they will annex these areas back into them. They have to split into 6 different pieces. There's now 6 nations in Oceania, which is a big blow because this will make them weaker and more vulnerable to attack by foreign powers. So we'll see how long that stays together. So yeah. So over in Asia, the Chinese will make their move to attack the orange country that had a split away up here. They will lose massive amounts of territory quickly, as their entire northern area falls over to the Chinese within a few weeks, which makes these guys panic the hell out, and because they underestimated the Chinese capabilities. And then they will launch an attack towards the capital city. They will miss, but this will allow them to encircle this massive area, and they will take these incredible amount of troops, and then shortly after they will take this area. Let's look at the peace treaty. Puppeted by the Chinese, China seems to be realizing that Bangladesh is on the decline, and they are here to fill that spot as Asia's great power. They see the opportunity and they will not let this opportunity pass by. They didn't take any land, they just puppeted them, so it really But in Japan, oh Japan. Japan has fallen to the rebels with only their southern island remaining. But soon after their southern island falls, and let's look at the peace treaty with these guys getting a lot of territory. These guys got a good amount of land, I'd say, and they managed to basically just and these guys are now the controlling of Japan. Japan will immediately launch an attack on the Dutch, actually, the Dutch's colony here, and they will attack on this naval area. Why are they doing this? Because they want their colony back. Because they saw they saw the other government selling it as a cowardly move to not let the rebels get it. So they'll just be like, you know what, screw you, we're going to take it anyway. And the Dutch will not see this coming, and they will be forced to sign an agreement with these guys. Okay, let's look at that. The agreement will look something like this, where these guys will take this area. They're not stronger than the French, so they can't fight those guys, but they're kind of just dealing with it, I guess. Uh-oh, the ocean has become blood. So yes, it was a bit shorter than normal because, well, we did do a lot of stuff in this episode, so I hope that makes up for it. It's kind of just a speed run episode. So anyways guys, stay tuned, and I'll see you in another one.